Buyer's agent is a licensed professional that is a real estate agent. They are going to go out there for you and they're going to help you with a strategy, help you with a brief, and they're going to be able to go out there and really execute on those goals for you. And just because a property looks good doesn't mean it's going to perform. People get caught up with this all the time. Is it in a quality pocket of the suburb? Is it in a quality pocket of the local government area, quality suburb? What's the income levels in the area versus the median value to ensure there's affordability and there's the opportunity to continue to push prices higher? Find a quality buyer's agent because it's going to help save you time, get it right, and it's going to mean if you're looking at an investment property, right, you get that performance, you get that quality service, and you're in a position where you can go again sooner. We are live with another episode of the Tailored Property Wealth Podcast. My name is Casey Taylor. I'm the host of the podcast. And in today's episode, we're talking about what is a buyer's agent and why you should use a buyer's agent. I've managed to build a multi-million-dollar property portfolio in just a few short years, and I want to inspire and motivate other Australians that if I can do it, so can you. The Tailored Property Wealth Podcast has been created to help educate, mentor, coach, and support you through everything relating to property investing to make sure you go out there and make a much better educated decision when investing in property. Please like, share, subscribe, and share this podcast with anyone who you think might see value in it. It's really going to be the crux of this episode, and a lot of you out there, if you're listening, you might already know what a buyer's agent is, but you might not truly understand the value of what a buyer's agent brings to you as a property purchaser, whether it be an owner-occupied property or an investor property, right? So yeah. And if you are listening and you might not know what a buyer's agent is, you might get a lot of value out of this one because it is a crucial part in your team. And I want to kind of set things off with majority of people in Australia are happy to go out there when they're selling a property to use a sales agent and they wouldn't have the confidence, right, to go out there and sell the property themselves. Versus on the flip side of things, when they're going out there and purchasing a property, they're happy to do that themselves. It's the largest purchase of their life, and they think that they can go out and execute on that and get the best result for themselves. So it's just like a shift in mindset, and what has been the norm for a long period of time is that you use a sales agent to sell, but you go out and you purchase yourself, right? And there's just so many different reasons where you might not have the skills needed to go out there and get the best result for yourself in the quickest time possible, get that long-term growth, blah, blah, blah. So that's just a really important and powerful one to think about. If you're making the largest purchase of your life, why are you going out there and doing it yourself? But when you're trying to make the biggest sale of your life, there's no hesitation. You're happy to go out there and use a sales agent. And the buyer's agency space in Australia is really starting to grow, and it's a lot more normal now than what it was in the past to use a buyer's agent. And progressively over time, that's going to continue. And it'll get to the point where majority of people are going to use a buyer's agent, and you're going to be at a really big disadvantage if you're out there trying to purchase a property yourself, okay? If you are working a full-time job, the chances of you being able to compete with a buyer's agent doing this day in and day out is just very, very minimal. If you're working 40 hours a week, chances are maybe you can commit 1 or 2 hours max a day, right? On top of everything else, you might be sacrificing on your time with your family and friends, or you're sacrificing on your time at the gym, or whatever it is, right? So being able to use that professional that does it day in and day out can really focus on that full time is going to help you a lot and save you a lot of time. All right. Now, I want to make it very clear on what a buyer's agent is and what is not a buyer's agent, because I speak to people, I wouldn't say all the time, but from time to time, right? And they're talking to a property spruiker. Property spruiker and buyer's agent, completely different things. Property spruiker is a sales agent and they are working for the developer. They're not working for you. Their client is the developer. This will be someone who is pushing a house and land package or pushing brand new stock off the plan. All right. They are getting paid massive commission from the developer. I get emails every single week. They range from, I think the minimum now is 33,000, and I've been offered up to like 45K or something to sell this brand new rubbish. And that's why they can charge you a low fee as a property spruiker. People are like, great, I barely have to pay them anything. It might be a couple of $1,000s. But then if you ask quality questions, how are you getting paid? Then you'll find out that they're getting paid from the developer. So if the developer's paying them, let's call it 30 to 40K, and you're paying them a couple of grand, who are they working for? I can tell you right now, it is not you. So that's a big one you want to be careful of, and I see it all the time. People want to save that fee up front because it's more expensive to use a buyer's agent directly, right, than to go through a property spruiker. But you're paying it in the purchase price if you're going through a property spruiker. But people are like, I only have to pay them a couple of grand. I'll go and work with them. They get this shitty quality asset, and it doesn't do much in the next couple of years. So it's, really opening your mind to long-term thinking. Always go on about that long-term thinking, not short-term thinking, but don't fall for the property spruikers because they are out there working for the developer. They have a hidden agenda and they get paid massive amounts from the developer to push that stock. So let's get into just a little bit further on the crux of what a buyer's agent is and then the benefits, right? So a buyer's agent is a licensed professional that is a real estate agent, and they are going to go out there for you and they're going to help you with a strategy, help you with a brief, and they're going to be able to go out there and really execute on those goals for you. Again, like any industry, there is quality buyer's agents and there's not quality buyer's agents, and that fee is going to range depending upon the quality. So if you're going out there and you're looking for something cheap and nasty, expect that in your buyer's agent, in the service, in the quality, because if you're going out there and looking for someone who's charging a very, very low fee, there's a reason why they're doing so. All right. And if they're charging a low fee, they're probably working with twice as many clients as someone who does have a higher fee, for example, and that real quality service. And that means double the amount of clients, you're not going to get that service level that you are probably going to expect. So the benefits of using a buyer's agent, right? And I touched on this one just before. It's going to save you a massive, massive amount of your time, right? Like I said, if you're working full-time, 40 hours per week, and you can only commit 1 to 2 hours a day, it's just not going to compete with a buyer's agent who's doing this day in and day out, have those existing relationships with agents. So someone who I spoke to, they thought, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it myself. And they've now engaged our services, and I asked them, how many agents are you speaking to a week? And they said 2 to 3. Now, on the flip side, in comparison of that, we talk to at least 50 agents per day, whether it's phone calls, whether it's SMS, emails. There's so many different avenues where we're speaking with agents day in and day out to get those off-market properties and be the front of someone's mind when they're listing a property. So if you're speaking to 2 to 3 agents a week, you simply cannot compete with that. You really have to put in a massive amount of your time to do this in a quality way that's going to be effective for you. So that means you're going to have to sacrifice time with your family, time with your friends, time on the weekend doing whatever it is that you want to do. So that one in itself is going to be very valuable, where you're just leaving it to someone who can focus on it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Tailored Property Wealth Podcast. I hope you're learning lots and getting lots of value out of this episode. If you want to discuss the opportunity of working with us here at Tailored Property Wealth, jump across to the website www.tailoredpropertywealth.com.au, complete the contact form, let us know that you're listening to the Tailored Property Wealth Podcast, and let's reach out, let's have a chat and see how we can help you execute on your property goals. The next one is really to give you the confidence with where you're investing, what you're investing in, why you're investing there. A lot of people I speak to, want to do it themselves, but all they're doing is just looking on realestate.com at properties. They're not really following a structured system. And that's where a quality buyer's agent comes in. They are going to provide you with in-depth data and research on the areas to invest. For example, for an investment property, you want it in an area prime for growth where it's going to get results. So that's something that you really want to leverage, that data and research side of things. You can't just window shop on realestate.com looking for stock. There needs to be a very clear strategy. And just because a property looks good doesn't mean it's going to perform. People get caught up with this all the time. Location is the most important piece of the puzzle. And then the build on top of that is just something that you want to look at. So there's the data and research side of things to give you the confidence. But then there is the due diligence side of things on an individual property level. Is it in a quality pocket of the suburb? Is it in a quality pocket of the local government area, quality suburb? What factors have you looked at to ensure that that area is going to perform? Ensure that the supply is low, demand is high, and that's going to continue to push prices higher. What's the income levels in the area versus the median value to ensure there's affordability and there's the opportunity to continue to push prices higher? There's so many different little bits and pieces from that data, research, and due diligence process to make sure you can go out there and invest with confidence and get the results that you're after, okay? And it's like analysis paralysis as well. There's so many different strategies and ways that you can build wealth through property. And if you're out there, you're absorbing information from everywhere, you're just going to get overwhelmed and you're not going to take any action. It's great to research. It's great to build your knowledge. But at the end of the day, if you're just building research, doing your research, building your knowledge, you're not taking any action, you're not going to get any results. So it is going to be super important, okay? Another thing that a buyer's agent is going to help you do is to ensure that you purchase under market value. And there's three components that we really want to focus on is getting in that area prime for growth, getting that property under market value and being a quality property, because that's going to get those results. If you're not in this game, you're not going to understand and be able to identify what market value is. And that means you're going to risk overpaying on a property. And then that means you might have to sit there for 6 months just to break even on the property. Whereas a quality buyer's agent is going to be able to show you through data what they believe market value is, where market value is, and then be able to negotiate and secure that property under market value. And it means from day one, you've created a bit of equity. And then as that area is prime for growth, you're going to be in a position where you can go and purchase another property sooner and access that equity. So that one, yeah, is really important. Now, another one that you want to use a buyer's agent for is leveraging those relationships with agents. I purchased a property not too long ago, and someone who had kind of reached out prior saw that I had purchased that property. And they were like, oh, I tried to secure that property and it was too late. That's where relationships with agents, moving quickly on something, really come into play. We secured it before they'd even reached out to look at the property. And that's where you're going to get access to those off-market properties that you as the average investor or average purchaser just won't get access to. And there's a lot of agents that we work with that we get exclusive off markets. So they'll send it to us first before they send it to anyone else. And the reason being is we've got that established relationship. We've been working with them for a period of time and they have the confidence in how we operate. So they know they're not just working with this kind of average purchaser out there who might not have their pre-approval in place, doesn't understand the buying process. And it just means the agent knows that it's going to be seamless for themselves right from the start through to settlement. It's going to be seamless for their vendor, but it's also seamless for us and the purchaser, right? So it just gives the agent confidence, gives us preference out there. And many other buyer's agents who operate effectively, and you can really leverage off those relationships, because those relationships are key to getting properties that are off market, or even if it is on market, you will get preference using a buyer's agent, because that agent has the confidence in how they operate and that sort of thing. What else comes into it is that negotiation piece. All right. And price point does not always win a deal. It's super important, don't get me wrong. But again, if an agent potentially has an offer that might be 10K below the highest offer, but they've got that relationship with the agent, they're probably going to push that offer and say, hey, I know this offer's higher. However, I have the confidence with this buyer's agent. I've worked with them before. They operate well. The deal's going to stick, opposed to someone who's paying over and above, but might be an average property investor. They don't have their finance in place. And then in 2 weeks' time, the vendor or an agent are in a position where it falls through. They've got to start that process again. So that's going to be key from the property negotiation point of view, and just special conditions in general, right? We have purchased a couple of properties recently that are going to auction, and we just go in with really strong terms, make sure that that property is going to go unconditional prior to when that auction is scheduled for. So when we position an offer, the vendor goes, okay, well, the timeline of the purchase is actually speeding up versus that auction process. And that's where we're able to secure properties, get them under market value, eliminate that competition where it's not going to be multiple people, I guess, competing, acting emotionally, or just driving that price higher. And it's just having the confidence to negotiate. If you haven't negotiated on property in the past, and you might have negotiated in other aspects, wherever it is, at work or whatever, property specific negotiations are super, super important. There's special conditions that you can put in to benefit you as the purchaser for when you're looking for tenants, so many different avenues, and just saving little bits and pieces once settlement does take place. So having someone who is super experienced with the negotiation piece is crucial. Okay. That's kind of it in a nutshell, some of those different reasons that you want to use a buyer's agent. It's super crucial in your team. And just the last one is the team of specialists. If you're using a buyer's agent, they're going to have a team that they surround themselves with, and they've got those established relationships, and it's just going to make everything seamless. So they can introduce you to a property manager that they work with. You have the confidence that they're a quality property manager, pest and building inspector, quantity surveyor, all those people in your team, mortgage broker, etc. So not only are you using that direct professional to help you purchase the property, but it's those little value adds on where you don't have to go out there and source this person or source that person, or even source quotes for trades, because you've got that team around you. So it is super, super important. And a buyer's agent, I like to say, we wear so many different hats, but one of them is just simply project managing that all the way through to settlement. What happens if your broker is fumbling the bag with finance and you need to get extensions? How confident are you to go and position that with the agent and say, hey, we need a little bit of an extension, or how are you going to negotiate on a pest and building and use that as a tool to get a price reduction for things that potentially have come up in that pest and building? There's so many different little bits and pieces, but it's just making sure you're meeting those deadlines and getting all the way through to settlement in the most seamless way. If something pops up and you're working 40 hours a week, how are you going to prioritize that to make sure you get things sorted as soon as possible? If you need to do that outside hours, chances are you might miss out on the property if you can't meet a deadline, they pull the pin on it, or whatever that is. So it's super, super crucial that you use someone doing this day in and day out. They're sourcing and getting those off-market properties. They have preference over those properties, and they have those relationships with agents, property-specific negotiation skills, that team of specialists, and just really understanding that purchasing journey and making it seamless and stress-free for you. That's all for this episode today. Why use a buyer's agent and what a buyer's agent is. And they are worth their weight in gold. Don't need to use me, but go out there, find a quality buyer's agent because it's going to help save you time. Get it right. And it's going to mean if you're looking at an investment property, right, you get that performance, you get that quality service, and you're in a position where you can go again sooner. Thanks for listening, as always, guys. If you've got any episode topics that you want to suggest or you want to hear, reach out, let us know, and we're happy to sort through it. So thank you very much. Thanks for listening, and have a cracking week. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you don't already, make sure you follow us across all of our social platforms. That can be Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. I wish you all the best out there on your property investing journey, and I hope each decision you make in purchasing more property gets you closer to your goal of financial freedom.